It is Spoilerin time. I'm Tom Merritt, Brian Brushwood alongside, and today we are going to spoil The Leftovers latest episode, The Shield episode 1 of season 3 that I have started, and the first episode of Fargo. In fact, I'm just trying to look up which Leftovers episode it is so that you know for sure. It's episode 7, and auditing the class today.
There you go.
Although he hasn't seen any of the
a
shows.
live, not in studio audience that will either
he can't get credit for this episode. But Ewan Rankin from British Tech Network is sitting along by because we just did Cordkillers and he was with us. Ewan, are you ready to be spoiled?
Spoil away.
All right. Let us start with The Leftovers. This is the first of the non-character study episodes that I have enjoyed, finally.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not to mean that I hated the other episodes. I just felt like they dragged.
Yeah.
And this one I felt like started to gain a little more momentum. It felt like we were going somewhere, maybe just because he's chasing something.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Okay, yeah, and keep in mind, this was another, Bonnie's only seen 2 episodes, and the episodes that I tend to like the most tend to be the ones that I'm getting Bonnie caught up. And a side effect of explaining, oh, well, this is significant because earlier the guy did this, and now this is the first time that we're seeing him in this context or whatever. And something about that ritual of explaining to her why stuff's important forces me to understand and acknowledge the clever ways that a lot of these threads are coming together. I loved the bizarre. It's the first time. Okay, a few threads going on. First of all, you got crazy escaped dad, who rescues the daughter, which I enjoyed a lot. And you
that
have
actor, by the way,
so good.
Yeah, like that character's interesting, but he just makes that character.
Well, he sells it, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got this gravitas, and you trust him, and you're like, oh wait, I could trust you to be crazy, is what I could do. And
he's got just the right amount of maybe he's not crazy. No, he's crazy.
Hey,
well, maybe he's not. Well, no, he's pretty crazy.
Well, and speaking of crazy, we got father and son stuff where it's like, where all of a sudden it's like, no, you're losing time. You're doing things that you don't know why you're doing it.
And I know I'm jumping ahead, but the scene with the National Geographic is Damon. This is what Damon Lindelof does well, which is could be spirits talking to him, trying to send a sign. Could totally make sense. On the other hand,
could be
most
crazy
of us
person
would look at it and go, "Yeah, crazy person trying to give me a magazine."
Yeah. Yes, I think that's being handled elegantly and engagingly. I am very much seduced by that. I like all the stories. For the first time ever in this whole show, I care about the Dr. Hugs a lot side of things. I care about the son.
A surprise there.
Yes,
right?
well,
and
we
this
got
is
something
what
interesting.
I've been dying for, which
Yes.
is like, show me something. Yeah, I know. I've been kind of doubting Dr. Hugs, and he's troubled, and like finally, like, oh, that's interesting. We got a second lady involved. And he lied. He definitely lied to Tommy.
He diversified. He bought a lot of lottery tickets because he knew he needed a son.
But he told each one of them they were the only one.
Yes,
That's
no,
what I
correct,
mean, yeah.
correct. And but again, the Oracle lied to Neo. Because that's what he needed to hear.
Right.
And so I don't even want to kind of blow that off. And it's weird to see him in such a low place and like this weird, bizarro, alternate reality version of what I forget. It was a Tom. I don't know the kid's name.
Tommy, Kevin, the chief's son?
Yeah, the chief's son. Is it Tommy?
I think it's Tommy.
Okay. Anyway, to see Tommy encountering that and to see like what a good, it sort of highlighted what a good person and trusting person he's been in this. Did we see a lot from? I loved seeing who's our main character again?
The chief?
Yeah,
Kevin. I think it's Kevin.
Garvey. Yeah,
Garvey.
Yeah, it's great.
Steve Garvey.
It's
First
a
baseman for the Dodgers.
No,
it's
Kevin Garvey.
Yeah.
It's great to see those two falling in love. Like
Thank you, Mark Shepard says it is Tommy, so we're good. Okay.
The delightful awkward practicalities of being in your mid to late 40s and falling in love and just sort of like
yeah,
and then we're like you want to come inside, you're like, oh, it's code, hold on, yeah, BRB, gonna have sex for the first time in a long time, and it's like it's awkward, and then it got shut down so easily just by the presence of the GR, and then the way she dealt with him, you can see that simmering anger, and I really found that whole story adorable and highly engaging to me.
Yeah, this was full of really good stories because even Kristen Stewart in the refrigerator box was interesting. It's the first time that what's the daughter's name?
We should really learn the names of the characters on this show.
She's, if I cared about her, I'd see. I remember Tommy. I remember Kevin. I remember.
Oh no, I think she's fascinating, and mainly because I'm terrified. Having 3 daughters, she's my nightmare. She's what I don't want to happen.
What's that, Ewan?
Jill.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because
he's got Wikipedia open. He's got just correct us. He's our adjudicator for this.
Immediate fact checking. Yeah.
There's a great point with Leftovers. I listen to you guys talking about this every week, and I've just gone to Sky. Oh, I wonder if this is on Sky and I can watch it on Catch Up. Forget Catch Up. It's not until autumn here. That breeds piracy. Right to HBO. Really we want HBO Go in the UK.
Yeah.
The more they tighten their grip, the more shows will slip through their fingers
to the Pirate Bay.
Yes. Not saying that you should do that.
No, but that is a statement of fact. That is definitely a thing that's happening, and they're aware of, and they take as a compliment somehow, which is amazing.
And this is I finally realized that watching this show. This is a show where you really have to appreciate it as art, and that's too high, putting it too highfalutin, but you have to be willing to say, like, I just want to enjoy the atmosphere of this show that has been created. I don't necessarily need to have a coherent story with 3 acts beginning to end told to me.
I agree. There's something dreamlike about visiting this world that, and it's not overt and it doesn't hit you over the head, but I like it. I feel this kind of Zen-like quality where it's like even when there's real danger, you don't really feel the danger. You know, like even as like that was a great moment when she finally broke the record inside the refrigerator and they pulled that handle pop and you felt your heart sank. But even then there was sort of an inevitability to things working out. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Having this mystical side to it that's up in the air is a two-edged sword. And up till now, it has not been wielded well in my estimation. It's been a distraction where I'm like, no, you put this out there. In the first episode is the big thing, and then you're telling me to ignore it. Like, it's sort of like, it's just the thing that causes people to be upset. Don't worry about it. And I didn't buy that. And that's the problem people have with Damon Lindelof sometimes. This is the first episode where I'm like, now I can ignore it.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Now you have enough to hold on to
what it is.
Yeah.
Because you've given me compelling stories that need it to have happened to make sense. But I'm really into those stories.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really, really getting strong, and I'm less than ever because we've talked about how we keep feeling like this really feels like a broadcast show. Doesn't feel like a broadcast show to me anymore. Right. It feels. I mean, if it feels anything like a broadcast show, it's like Twin Peaks kind of broadcast show. You know, it's something.
It's gone from Hemlock Grove to more Twin Peaks in my estimation.
Yeah. I like it. I like seeing all the pieces on the chessboard. I like the slow movements between them, and I'm having a good time.
I still don't think it's as good as Twin Peaks.
All right, let's talk about The Shield, man.
Yeah, first episode of season 3, and I actually think this is the best whole episode I've seen.
Okay, walk me through it. Remind me of what happens in this, because this is they come back. They've completed the heist.
Is cleaning out his desk. He's gonna leave in a few days, and Wims is gonna take over. And then by the end of the episode, he's decided to stay for 6 more months until he actually has to leave.
Oh, that's right. Wims gets pissed
and
too.
Wims gets very upset. Yeah. So you've got that through line. The money train is dominating the backstory in this episode as Wags is moving in. The guy that they ran into in the truck, or they saw have the accident in the truck, shows up and recognizes the one guy from the strike team.
Yep.
And they have the U.S. Treasury guy talk to Wags and say, yeah, some of that money's marked, and it's weird that we haven't seen it show up anywhere. The strike team doesn't know it's
that's right.
Yet.
There's also been like a long time between the end of season 2 and because this is season 2 ends with the mountain of cash and the shocking realization of what they've done and what they've pulled off.
The Armenian guy knows the name Cletus Van Dam,
yes,
which they use to register the storage lockers. So they have to move the money.
Right.
Then Vic Mackey, who keeps saying like, we just run under the radar, we do everything by the book. Like they start like they're just gonna bust a corner guy.
I don't think that this is a
he
spoiler.
Starts to break his own rules as it goes along.
Right.
And you see not Gardaki, who's Shane. You see Shane at first go along with Vic because Vic's like, no, you can't help your girlfriend buy a car.
Oh,
that's
this
going
is
to cause
right.
attention to you. And by the end, he's like, well, screw you, Vic. You keep changing the rules because you want to bust these guys with the guns. So I'm gonna help my girlfriend buy a car. Screw that.
I don't think this will be a spoiler to tell you that there are a couple of themes that are coming, and you could tell me which of these have already started. But one, of course, is the sowing of seeds of dissent between the Jezebel aspect of Shane's girlfriend. You know, like
this
whispering.
Is the first time we've met her.
Okay.
And you can already tell the guys don't really love her.
Right. Right.
And the fact that he rebels against Vic at the very end.
Okay.
Yes, that seed is
okay. So you were seeing the beginning of that,
We've
which
seen
is
that go in the ground.
and then the other running theme is Lem's anxiety over how things are going. Have you seen any of that? Because that will become a theme.
Lem?
Lem, the blonde. There's 4 members of the strike team.
Oh,
Lem.
he's the big guy. No, not so much.
Okay.
A little bit of like, come on, Vic. You know, you totally like broke the rule here. I don't know if we needed to do that.
Okay.
Vic's
all right.
like, yeah, we did.
All right.
That's a side conversation that hasn't really boiled over.
Okay.
Yet.
Well, I hope it didn't spoil anything that
No,
you find out
so,
that he
that's
has
not
nerves.
terribly surprising to find out. And here's the thing: this episode had great through lines. The idea of Aceveda sticking around, the idea of bringing Topher back, who's a security guard at a school right now, and Aceveda figuring out. These were all ways to keep the cast together that still made sense. I knew why they were doing them, but I'm like, yeah, this all does line up. Aceveda wants to put a stamp on things, and he wants to staff up the barn, and he steals Wim's idea because he wants to look good going into
on
the
his
city
way out.
council.
Sure, yeah.
That all makes sense. Mackie getting tempted because he really does want to bust the bad guys, and so he breaks the rules in order to bust the bad guys, and then pisses off his friends. The strike team using that money from the Armenians because Aceveda knows something is going on. That's the other thing you see at the end, where Aceveda realizes, like, wait a minute, he knows something about this money train thing.
Yeah.
You get 2 hints. I can't remember the first one, but the second hint is when Mackie asks for $100,000 to make the gang bust with the Mexican gang, and Aceveda's like, sorry, you got to follow the rules. We have to keep our nose clean. It'll take 2 days. You want it to go faster? Stop by an ATM. And Mackie kind of is like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But he does. He goes to the storage locker and he gets the money.
Yeah.
We don't know what happens with it after that.
Again, man, it's hypnotic. You are in the groove now, where from this point forward, you like Vic Mackey, you are trying to keep afloat all of the deceptions and all of who knows what and who to protect, and the fact that every situation he's given, he's unflappable. He's unfazed. He just rolls. He has a lie. He has a lie ready to go at any given time, and he's keeping them all. I mean, it's like, it like, even remembering watching the show from
grabbing
this
the
point,
hip hop guy at the last minute and saying, "Oh no, he was our informant. Don't arrest him. See, I just did you a solid."
Yes. Like starting from this point forward, there is, even remembering the TV show, I have this tightness in my chest that just gets worse and worse and worse as everything pulls tighter and tighter.
And the best part about it is, if anything has disappointed me about The Shield, it's that the procedural element, which is necessary, has always felt kind of like everything else. Like, yeah, it's good, but it's nothing I haven't seen before.
Well,
this was the first episode where the procedural element was pretty much just the corner guy that they go chasing after, and that's a demonstration that Mackie's like, no, I'm not going to do a high-speed chase after him. We're going to follow the rules. We'll get the helicopter to get him. And then that guy causes an accident, which causes the ammunition to fall out of the van, which goes off, which leads to a totally separate bust. I'm like, that was interesting. That was not something I'm used to seeing every week on TV, and I can tell that this show has grown up.
Well, it suffers a little bit from the Godfather syndrome. By the time I saw The Godfather, I was almost 30 years old, and I had seen so many parodies, so many knockoffs, so many inspirations that came from it, that by the time I saw The Godfather, it was an utterly unremarkable, boring, trite, cliche movie.
You're the only person I've known who says
that's fine. That's fine. I could even be wrong about this.
Yeah.
To me, it was all of those things.
Jurassic Park is what I use for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
By the time I saw it, I was like, okay, they're scary. I knew they were supposed to be.
Yeah. So I suspect that what you're not feeling in the procedural, because like the method of storytelling, the dirty camera stuff, like nowadays everybody does that, zooming in to pop on an important line, the over the shoulder, like you're just kind of
totally normal.
That's all cliche nowadays, but that was revolutionary at the time. Also, cursing and showing boobs from time to time was also extraordinary in the late 90s. So it's like, nowadays you see those and they may feel gratuitous or obvious or whatever, but at the, put in context, I'm glad that the overall narrative
that explains why season 3 now it's starting to feel like, oh, this is better because they're getting closer to current time.
Yes.
Any thoughts on our spoiling of the Shield, Ewan?
No, because you're at season 3 and I've got to go back to season 1 anyway, so I'll have forgotten it all by that point.
All right, good.
Somebody in the chat, Kelvington, says that I think talking about the Shield is Brian's version of Lumosity, which is right. That this is the mental exercise of trying to remember stuff that I deeply loved 8 years ago and relive it in my mind.
All right, let's reverse that a little bit. Although I didn't watch Fargo that long ago, but I watched episode 1 of Fargo a month or so more ago. But you watched it this week.
Yes. As a matter of fact, thank you goes out to Jackie Hearn, Jackie Hearn 81 in the chat. She actually sent me money saying shut up and watch it.
She really?
Yeah, she sent me an Amazon gift card. And so I was like, all right, fine. So I put it in. Now here's the thing. We talk about these and we talk about the different actors and so on, and it's like their names are like, oh yeah, no, that is the guy with the thing or whatever.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Exactly. But it's different when you sit and you don't recognize Billy Bob Thornton at first, and then it suddenly hits you like, oh man, that's Billy Bob Thornton, because he's wearing the hairpiece and playing a very very muted, understated character that you don't normally see from Billy Bob Thornton. Complex and interesting, right? And then the moment Martin Freeman shows up, like that struck me like I'm like, oh crap, it's what's Watson doing on this show?
Somebody from The Office.
Yeah, exactly, right. I mean, it's the cast is extraordinary. Exactly, right? The cast is extraordinary. I loved it. Just like the movie Fargo, when the graphic punches come, they come very hard. It really is just like the movie Fargo. If you like the movie Fargo, you will absolutely adore this. It felt there's a couple of things are off. You mentioned that you felt like the accents.
Freeman's accent goes in and out for me. It's good enough. It certainly didn't take away. But I didn't feel like he entirely nailed it. But then I don't think everybody in the movie entirely nailed it either. And I'm certainly no expert on that accent. I didn't grow up with it or live with it either. So I may be totally wrong. At the same time, the reason I didn't go from that episode right into episode 2 was because I felt it was good, but the story didn't hook me. Like, I wanted to see more Billy Bob Thornton. I wanted to see more Martin Freeman. I wanted to see more of that atmosphere. But nothing made me go, and I have to do it now because I want to find out this.
Oh yeah, no, this is going to be a slow burn. In many ways, this is going to be just like, I suspect, if it's anything like the movie, it'll be a lot like your Shield experience starting right now. It's going to be, a net that gets tighter and tighter as people make increasingly more desperate moves.
In fact, the only part that I really remember sticking out was Martin Freeman tangling himself up in a way that he didn't need to, which is a perfect replication of the way that happens in the movie.
Yes.
And so maybe it just felt like, they're doing this again. And I've been told by more than one person that once you get to episode 2, it starts to feel much different from the movie. That episode 1 is intentionally trying to recapture the spirit, but it's going to start taking
even
you
the same
entirely
beats, right? You have a man who feels trapped and desperate and is willing to do some stupid things to get out of it. Somebody who snaps and goes too far. But then also, the clever solution, like that moment at the end where he's like, what to do. And he just looks up and just runs full steam into the wall to knock himself out so he can be a victim here. There's enough surprises. Unfortunately, Bonnie watched it and she was just like, this is exactly like the movie Fargo, which is why I hated the movie Fargo, because I don't want this in my brain. I didn't need to see a leg being shoved into a wood chipper in my brain, and it's like from the movie. What's that?
So that's your friend there in the wood chipper.
So it's like
my favorite lines ever.
To her, that's a stain that she doesn't want. Oh, you're getting up and leaving. He's had enough, ladies and gentlemen.
I just wanted to look at my Fargo snow globe that I have.
Hold that up so we can see it.
Yeah, sorry, audio listeners, but it's got the car wreck scene.
That's great.
Here, yeah.
At any rate, so yes, we'll definitely be watching it. We'll definitely not be watching it with Bonnie, which is good. I need stuff to watch here while I'm away.
Yeah, sure. While you're on vacation, you want to take advantage of it.
As one does. Watch some murder.
Ewan Rankin, thoughts on Fargo, the series?
I'm not a great lover of the Coens, I have to say. I never watched Fargo. The Big Lebowski I enjoyed very much, but the rest I've kind of walked away from. Some of it halfway through as well. Burn After Reading, I wouldn't like that if it was toilet paper. This one, I'll give it a go. I'll watch these episode 1 and see what happens, but I'm not hopeful.
You know, I'd be really interested to hear, because there's part of the appeal to Fargo almost certainly is a cultural adorableness of that Minnesota nice accent that fused with what feels like a time machine back to 1991 decor or whatever. I wonder if any of that will translate and appeal to somebody who doesn't live in the United States.
I will gladly go and watch it for you, Brian, and I will report back next time.
Right on.
Excellent. Well, that's it for Spoilerin Time. Ewan Rankin, BritishTechNetwork.com. Lots of great shows over there, so go check it out. Anything to tell the Spoilerin Time audience in particular?
No, just come over to the network, have a listen, see what you think, and hope you enjoy it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.